artist too. And as such, I can really appreciate art and making and the skills that are involved without actually being very educated in it. I was fortunate enough to inherit a painting by an artist called Edward Seago. Now, I don't know a great deal about art, as I said, it's not my particular field. My field is more wood. But it intrigued me greatly, and I thought that I should find out as much as I possibly could about the man. A very dear friend was kind enough to send me some books he'd written, and here we have one, a canvas to cover, and it tells a great deal about the man and his philosophies. His ideas, I mean, here we have of light and atmosphere. Light and atmosphere. To my mind, there is more magic in those two words than in all the others in the English language. They signify to me all that is grand and beautiful in landscape. They embody form, colour, space and substance. When one thinks of them, one might well remember the words of Job. Stand still and consider the wondrous works of God. And this is just lovely stuff. Another one of his books I have is essentially about encouraging people during the very difficult war period to look at life around them and to take value from the landscape and the things they see. Well, his book, this particular one, is very it gives me great joy to read it. His wonderful feelings of looking at the landscape and getting joy from it. They had a very strange life. He joined a circus at quite a young age, which I seem to remember way back when I was a child was quite a thing to do. It was like, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to join the circus. Well, later on it became a train driver, and then it became an airline pilot. I'm not sure what children want to do today. Perhaps they want to be a television star. Anyway, a little bit more. Several times I've painted from an airplane, from an open cockpit, and from a cabin machine. On the last occasion I was in a transport aircraft flying over southern Italy. There was a fine cloud formation of patches, mostly stratocumulus and cirrus up above. I made an oil sketch at 5,000 feet on the only panel I had with me, and I wished that I had several more. The colour of the earth was golden, and there were patches of purple cloud, shadow falling on the hills. He was in the army too, for a while, but he was ill. He had a heart problem. And one of the reasons why I ended up with this picture was because, and this painting, was because he went to paint on my grandfather's farm in England. And my mother said a few things about him. One of the things he said was that he often lay down. He often had to lie down, and this, I understand, was because he had a heart problem. Anyway, more of Edward Seago, little bits. Have you ever spent a day watching one stretch of water? I have in mind a certain estuary where the ebb tide recedes to a narrow channel between the mudflats, and dunlins and redshanks dabble in their slimy hunting ground and flit above the river, piping their plaintive note. Where the estuary narrows at the river's mouth, we have sometimes moored our boat. At one time there was a quay looking back along the bank, but it has mostly fallen in, and there are some wicked-looking stakes which poke their heads above the surface at low water. However, good mooring can be found with care, and one can safely tie up for the night. On the far side of the river there stands a windmill, the tallest mill in these parts. Within sight across the marshes are a dozen others. The great estuary itself stretches seaward, until the line of channel posts all but disappear from view. Oh, isn't that evocative? Oh, it's almost like a painting with words. Anyway, there is more and more on the wind, his ideas, his attitudes, his feelings. It's lovely. It's lovely, and if you can see his pictures. Now I'm just going to show you my little Edward Seago here. And here it is. You've seen it in the picture leading up to this video, but here it is. And if you look, it's very simple. Just a few dabs of paint here and there to evoke the atmosphere which he manages to get across so clearly. And I put it to you that this is sheer magic. There are very few artists who are able to do this. And of course, Edward Seago in his time was tremendously popular, with all his shows sold out before they opened, or most of them sold out before they opened. He was a great favourite of the Duke of Edinburgh and
Edward Seago,
and I'm lucky enough to have one. In fact, it is now the month of February, and I understand it is 100 years since he was born. 100 years, that's a long, long time. It's more than the average person lives. And it's a real piece of history.